Let's just bring you some breaking news now from Hull Crown Court. The former funeral director, Robert Bush, has pleaded guilty to 35 counts of fraud by false representation. Now, this comes after a major investigation into human remains found at his premises. Let's cross to our North of England correspondent, Katerina Vitozzi, who's been following the case, and she joins us now. Katerina, bring us up to date.
Yes, in the last few moments, as you say, Robert Bush, the former funeral director who operated the Legacy funeral services here in Hull, has pleaded guilty to 35 counts of fraud by false representation. Now, this relates to false representations made to family and friends of deceased who believed, according to the indictment here, that Mr. Bush would properly care for the remains of their loved ones, as you would expect in normal practice of a funeral director, and that he'd also arranged for the cremation of those remains to take place immediately or soon after conclusion of the funeral service. Robert Bush pleading guilty to charges that he did not do that he committed fraud by false representation in those cases. 30 of those charges relate to bodies found at Legacy Funeral Home after this huge police investigation that started in March last year. 4 of those charges also relate to unborn children, we understand. Robert Bush has pleaded not guilty, though, to a further 30 counts of preventing a lawful and decent burial. He did plead guilty to a count of fraudulent trading in relation to the selling of funeral plans, where he admitted he pleaded guilty to marketing and selling funeral plans whereby customers believed that they would give him money, that would be then passed by Robert Bush to a financial institution to be kept in order to pay for funerals further down the line. Robert Bush pleading guilty to charges where it said that money was in fact kept by him and used by Bush for his own purposes. He pleaded not guilty to a charge of theft from charities. Those are charities such as the Royal National Lifeboats, the Dogs Trust, and Macmillan Cancer Support. He pleaded not guilty to that. But he did plead guilty to a further charge of fraud relating to ashes being given to families when those families believed that the ashes that they would be receiving related to their loved ones. He pleaded guilty to that charge too. So, in summary, a great deal of charges to listen and understand there. I can see, but in a nutshell, if you can really use that phrase to term an investigation that's taken so many months and has involved so many families, that the former funeral director, Robert Bush, has pleaded guilty to 35 counts of fraud by false representation after those human remains were found at his premises in Hull in March last year, but not guilty, pleading not guilty to 30 counts of preventing lawful and decent burial of a body, and not guilty to the charge of theft from charities. And for those charges, Robert Bush is due to go on trial at Sheffield Crown Court in October next year.